Greetings, brothers and sisters. I have a lot of stuff to get to. This guy, Juice Wrld, and this, I don't know, what appears to be some sort of 666 fundraising scam. This hip-hop artist who died, and they still seem to be running some scam. I'll show you that in just a moment. Richard Painter, dumpster fire guy, is back. I was just thinking about him the other day. He's upset about Hunter Biden selling his art for $100,000 and more, right, to anonymous donors, getting access to his dad through his dopey crackhead son and stuff with Valerie Bertinelli crying and a bunch of other stuff. Can't remember it all. It's just every day there's just, a pile of stuff, a big pile of stuff to get through. But anyways, let's start here. Hilaria Baldwin, the Rachel Dolezal of the Hamptons, just won't let it go. This is an op-ed or a opinion piece in the New York Post. And what this is about, one of my viewers sent me this. One of my Facebook friends sent me this on Facebook. Hilaria Baldwin's, this is her Instagram page. I had a very special experience. I spent time with my family for the first time in nearly 2 years. We talked about how we grew up, our languages, and our cultures multi and very valid. And so they reinforced her parents, that they're multicultural and multilingual. Well, she speaks 2 languages, but she grew up as a white girl. Her parents are, the last name is Thomas. They are white people from Boston who appear to be, Anglo-Saxon or whatever it might be. And they like to go to Spain. They spend time in Spain, and she learned Spanish. In the early part of her life, she was a typical white girl from Boston, but at some point she decided that she had a Spanish accent and didn't have the ability to remember how to say cucumber, even though she was an American who grew up with American English in an affluent neighborhood with affluent parents that were all from the American culture and language. Let's play the montage here because you guys, know what I'm talking about already.
Consider the source.
Oh, she's a white girl? Yes, I am a white girl. I am a white girl.
So, for example, my wife's on the phone with her hairdresser or her friend. She's like, really? Okay, I can't wait to see you. That's going to be great. Fantastic. What time? 12 o'clock? My wife is from Spain. Mm-hmm. And she said, blah, blah, blah.
We have very few ingredients. We have tomatoes. We have, how do you say it? Cucumbers. We have red pepper. We have, of course...
It's not easy, and I think part of it is that I'm in shape before I have a baby, and then I stay active when I'm pregnant, and I'm not trying to stay thin, I'm just trying to keep my circulation going and stretching and keep my muscle tone up, and then we're having a baby. It was a surprise, a wonderful surprise.
And one time at band camp,
it was a surprise, a wonderful surprise.
And one time at band camp,
it was a surprise, a wonderful surprise.
Well, there was a scream I heard, which is the scream that's normally reserved if there's a spider in the house on Long Island. I'm not exaggerating.
So the first part of the book is philosophy on how to live very namaste. I have 3 little babies. I live kind of a crazy life between work and them and everything else. So it's just, how to stay calm and centered and deal with things that are coming at you. Then we could talk about food.
Consider the source.
Oh, she's a white girl? Yes, I am a white girl. I am a white girl.
We discuss belonging and how there are people who want to deny others the right to belong. That's not what this is about, Hilaria. Or should I say Hillary. When you are she's going to use the word multi quite a bit here, it can feel hard to belong. You are constantly going back and forth, trying to be more this or more that. You feel you have to explain why you are the way you are, trying to fit into a world of labels when there might not be one that perfectly defines you. You don't have an accent. That's all this is about. You don't have a legitimate accent. You didn't grow up with Spanish being your primary language, which is the reason you would have an accent like this, and then English is your secondary language. People are upset at you for faking an accent and saying that you're from Spain when you're not. You vacation there. If you grew up speaking Spanish as your primary language, you would have an accent, possibly. Maybe you wouldn't. But you don't get an accent from speaking English as your primary language, not having an accent when you're a child and you're in high school and all your friends saying she spoke like an average American kid, and then sometime in your life you develop an accent some of the time, right? Not all of the time. You know, you're play acting, and then people call you on it, and you're saying you're being prejudiced against, right? What she's doing here is saying that she went to visit her family, and they're like, yeah, we are multi. Don't listen to those trolls, the people that don't understand. Like, we can't grasp what's happening here. And we're all not accepting of their multicultural ways. And we're 100% accepting of it. Like, nobody cares. You got caught not having an accent, right? That sometimes you speak with an accent and sometimes you don't, which means you are acting. Like, that's not having an accent. Having an accent is you're speaking English or whatever language that you isn't your first language the best you can, and it's mixed with some of your old language. You speak the second language with the first language being the base for the second language. So you're going to articulate things. There's going to be a hint of English in your Spanish, or a hint of Spanish, like a backdrop of Spanish in your English. But you can speak English fluently. It's your primary language. So every time that you put on a Spanish accent, you've been faking it. You know, your parents and you getting together and validating that like it's somehow normal and we don't understand, right? We don't get it. Like, we don't get what's going on here. Yeah, we get it. You wanted to be Spanish, and sometimes you faked a Spanish accent, but you got caught and, you know, it became public. Instead of accepting it, admitting to it, and explaining why you did that, you have come up with this, you know, scenario where somebody can go in and out of accents even though they don't have to. You can speak English without an accent. And you certainly know how to pronounce cucumber. You will never quite fit in because the other parts of your shape, you'll never quite fit in because the other parts of you shape and influence all your parts. That is not a proper sentence. Nothing inside you can truly exist in a segregated environment. Nobody's trying to segregate you. Nobody's trying to segregate you or label you or put you in a box. We are all saying to you, you are faking an accent that you didn't have when you were a kid, and you're pretending to be something that you're not. Again, you could be totally in love with the Spanish culture. You can speak Spanish all you want. You can say that you wish you were Spanish. You can say that, you know, part of you feels like you're Spanish. Maybe you have a past life or something from Spain. You can say all of those things. And also, you can pretend. You can do a Rachel Dolezal and pretend that you are somehow Spanish inside, right? That you feel like you identify as Spanish, and you can put on a fake accent and do all those things, but people are going to mock you and make fun of you and call you out on it. That's, you know, you have your prerogative. Go ahead, fake it. Like, we don't, you know, but don't expect the rest of us to go along with it. Like, don't expect the rest of us to suspend reality because of what you think you are, right? I mean, this is the whole problem with modern day culture, that we're all supposed to suspend our reality because you feel a certain way inside. And there's some kinds of, you know, whatever that's going on there. This is the 2020 year of the broken stuff, right? That, you know, built up over a period of time where we're all supposed to acknowledge your brokenness and pretend that your brokenness is real. Nothing inside you can truly exist in a segregated environment. It's not a light switch that cleanly switches on and off, more of a sliding dial that simply shifts through a rainbow of colors. We all get to curate our individual expressions of our cultures, language, who we love, what we believe in, how we dress, present ourselves. This is the right that each person should have, people who don't have your life experience can accept it at face value or move on, be curious, and want to learn, connect, and find similarities to relate to. So it just goes on forever here, and I just can't get through it. Lots of various types of... what we love about you is your heart. Love your children, husband, and family. You choose to put your vulnerabilities and struggles into helping other people, including myself. And you haven't let any negativity from those who clearly are not happy with themselves or their lives to darken your energy or spirit. You are a true warrior and a ray of light. Keep on shining. Keep on struggling to pronounce cucumber. And so here's Alec Baldwin outside in the rain. Brought an umbrella that didn't work, exchanges for one that did, got coffee, had door issues, delivered coffee. Romeo, they got a son named Romeo. Romeo's like, where's my coffee, Dada? Repeat, you crack me up, AB. It's just bizarre, right? She's videoing him coming up to the car with coffee. She's playing some humorous music.
Here's your coffee, ma'am. Here's your coffee. Hope it's to your liking.
He fakes an accent too. There's a family of great actors. Anyways, fakers. Fakers be faking. Haters be hated and fakers be faking. All right, so let's go to this Juice Wrld thing. So this was trending number 15 on YouTube Trends. And it is Juice Wrld 999, Live Free 999. And of course, 999 is the inverted version of 666. And since devil worship is always inverting things, when you have 3 nines, like you have 4 nines or 2 nines, when you have 3 nines, or you could have 989 or whatever it might be, but instead they have 3 nines, and then they have this Live Free Donate to 999. They have $19,000 so far. This is yesterday. I'll refresh it. They still have $19,000. And so it's founded in 1942. The Entertainment Industry Foundation is a multifaceted organization that occupies a unique place in the world of philanthropy by mobilizing and leveraging the powerful voice and creative talents of entertainment industry, as well as cultivating the support of organizations, public and private, and philanthropists committed to social responsibility. IEF builds awareness and raises funds developing and enhancing programs on the local, national, and global level that facilitate positive social change. So Juice Wrld is a hip-hop artist who died on December 8th in 2019. And he's one of these artists. They did this with XXX as well, who they are somehow keeping alive with various types of music he was working on that hasn't really been fully developed. They also did this with Mac Miller. They put out music that, isn't complete in music, and they make a lot of money on it because it's, the person isn't making it anymore. It's like an artist who dies, and their value of their work goes up. But in this case, they're running some sort of what appears to be a scam. This is the Live Free homepage here. There's their there's their website, and this guy seems to be throwing up some devil's horns here, and they have this various I don't know, some maybe gang sign, I don't know what that is, but they are using this to generate money for what they say is to help people with emotional issues and depression. And with the 999 in it, and again, this is the they look like upside down sixes because, that's what a 9 is. It seems a little bit suspect, right? This is their thing here. So, there's the 99, right? So, again, this is music that's not complete. This was stuff they were working on, demos, And I don't know, they got this guy he's got the fire eyes going there. And they got this guy with a Juice World 99, and they're hitting you up for money. When you use 3 9s, if you use, you could use 2 9s, you could use 9, 1 9, 1 8, 9, 8 9, 9 9 8, right? But when you use 3 9s, which is the inverted version of 666, and you have the music industry and Hollywood that is obsessed with 666 and other sorts of symbols, then people are going to say, this looks like 666. You want to, people to donate money, and you want to say this money is about helping people with mental health, and then you're going to put the mark of the beast on it, and you're going to take a recently dead young hip-hop artist, music artists, that are often dying young and then being exploited, just like with regular artists. When somebody dies, the value of their music goes up. And so, it looks sketchy as F, right? So this is also trending on YouTube Trends. Billie Eilish's NDA. And here she is, flipping out in some sort of, I don't know, like, there's a schism here, right? Multiple personality stuff.
Says he's Satan, and he like to...
So the lyric was, it's all dark, and she's wearing black clothes in a dark setting. And the line she just sang was, says he's Satan and he'd like to meet. So it's dark, depressing, and satanic.
You couldn't save me, but you can.
Some auto-tuning. But this is the video, very dark, very depressed. I mean, just, it sucks the life out of you. You have a little bit of light at the end. But then there's this. And so, yeah, this is what the youth of today have to to deal with. This is what's being sold to them. So then there's Valerie Bertinelli. Valerie Bertinelli thanks fans for support after troll criticizes her weight. And I guess this is something epic that's happening on Instagram. Now, dealing with trolls, and I want to, cover this more in depth, but I just want to, preface this. Everyone has to figure out how to deal with negative energy that is, coming from people on the internet. Everyone has to cope with the amount of criticism and hostility and whatever you're going to get when you become a person on social media. Even in just, all of you probably who have commented have to deal with this. Or just reading other people's comments or watching things that makes you feel upset or makes you feel butthurt or whatever it is. So here's her Instagram page.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't think I did anything, but
There's so much kindness
It's not really my speciality, but whatever, I'll go with it.
out there. I certainly do not feel so alone anymore.
Yeah, because you got internet friends. It's, the internet's a great place to not feel alone anymore.
It's the shame part that's really hard to get rid of, that stupid emotion that is absolutely useless.
Why are you hating on shame? Why are you trolling shame?
But I just wanted to say thank you.
Again, you're welcome. I didn't do anything, but whatever.
I was going to say, and now for some food content. But seriously.
So she was on a show called One Day at a Time, and her mom was named, last name Romano, the character on the show, which for me was something, I guess, because, I didn't know any other Romanos, right? And I think she must be, a few years older than me, but I thought she had disappeared. I knew she married Eddie Van Halen. And then apparently she has some sort of a food show. Like she has, like on the Food Network or something. And, most of you probably already know that, but that's my understanding of Valerie Bertinelli.
Let's get back to me posting some delicious recipes and all my kitties and my Lulu.
Nobody wants to hear about your Lulu, Valerie.
Let's have a really fucking great day today, you guys.
You've been hitting the hopium pipe. It sounds like she's had some hopium.
Good morning.
So that was that. So it says here, Wolfie's mom, I guess that's her. That's she has I don't know, somebody named Wolfie, and I guess their son or whatever. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think you're beautiful just the way you are. Don't listen to those trolls. I know it's hard, but don't listen to them. They're just keyboard warriors and they're bored. You are perfect just the way you are. You're you. That's not a real sentence. We all love you, all of you. Thank you for showing up authentically. This world needs you. You're still beautiful, kind, and generous. I guess she's getting a lot of support from her friends on Instagram. But anyways, here's the original post.
Some recipes online because I'm doing a cooking demo later, and I made the mistake of reading the comments.
She made the mistake of reading the comments. So here's something. Here's where it all started.
Someone, Mrs. Moto, decided to point out that I need to lose weight.
Mrs. Moto is a big meanie.
Because, see, I don't have a scale, or I don't have clothes that I'm trying to put on every day, and I don't have mirrors, so I don't see what's become of me.
Wow. She doesn't have a lot of the modern conveniences. So Miss Moto was helpful.
So I needed that help to let me know that I need to lose weight.
What's happening with Miss Moto right now? Have people found her? Has Valerie's army of supportive fans found Mrs. Moto? Is she okay? What's going on with Miss Moto right now?
You're not being helpful. Because when you see somebody who has put some weight on, my first thought is that person is obviously going through some things. Because if I could lose the weight and keep it off, I would. But since I haven't been successful with that my whole entire life, at 61, I'm still dealing with it. You think I'm not tired of it, lady?
See, here's the thing about it. When you get trolled on the internet or in life or whatever it is, right, when you have this sort of negative feedback, there's just three possibilities here. There's three ways to approach it. Number one, the person says something that's true. That you hear something that's true and you don't want to hear it. It's something that you know deep down is true and upsets you because you are living in some sort of an illusion and you don't want to hear that thing. It is something that can help correct something. It's something coming from the outside that can help you correct something on the inside. And, they're in a way doing you a favor. The second possibility is the person says something to you that isn't true, says something about you, accuses you of something that isn't true. And that can also be upsetting because you're like, the person's bearing false witness against you and saying things that are slanderous, that are not true. They are saying things that are, blatantly false and you know it and it upsets you, which again, but what that's about is them. Like you shouldn't make that about yourself because you can't control it and it is whatever it is, right? That's why you just, have to develop some sort of internal coping mechanism just to accept. And at some point you could be grateful for that you're not that person, for example, or whatever it is, because it has nothing to do with you. They don't know you, can't see you. It's something that they're really saying about themselves and projecting it on you. And the third thing, and that's what's happening here, is that the person says something that triggers a vulnerability in you that isn't necessarily true, but it's something that you're saying about yourself. So in this case, Valerie Bertinelli has been struggling with her weight her whole life because she's in Hollywood and she's a woman and she has the kind of body type where she's not going to be skinny, that she is going to constantly be, fighting this illusionary, this something that's been put out there by the, Hollywood establishment, that everyone's supposed to look like skinny runway models who are, all these women who have airbrushing and all the things that they do in Photoshop and things that aren't real anyway, and plastic surgery and the rest of it. As you get older, you can't look that way. People, can't accept getting older. They can't accept their body size changing or whatever it is, because it's an illusionary world that your external appearance is so much more important than it actually is, because we live in a superficial culture. And so when this woman pointed out something that she has been struggling with, she let it seep in and just, unleash all this stuff that's inside of her, right? Because she's not able to accept who she is and what she looks like in terms of her physical body. Not just accept, but be grateful for it. Just accept the kind of body type you have, accept the color of your skin, the demographic that you are, your physical features. Everyone has to learn to do this, and it shouldn't be a big deal. Like, you just, all right, this is what I'm going to look like, right? Because you have a soul and you have an internal world, and this is what your, soul and God chose for you in this life to look like, and you have to just accept it. Because there's just so much of this in America, so much of like American culture, all these, makeup things and body image things, is because of an obsession with people's physical appearance that almost nobody is happy with. Like, pretty much everyone's not happy with their physical appearance. And there's just a lot of nasty people out there that are going to comment on it, right? Because, they're miserable and hateful and whatever is going on with them. And so I'm going to come back to these things. I'm going to read some comments and I'll better explain it through that. But those are the three things you have to deal with. People who say something that's true about you, people that say something that is false about you, and people that say something that is, it exposes a vulnerability in yourself where you are, hating on yourself, and you have all this negativity towards yourself, and they sort of pull that out from inside of you, which all of the three of those things can be beneficial to you. Let's move on here, but I'll come back to this when I read the comments. Oh, here are some comments here. Aren't we tired of body shaming women yet? Shaking my head. I was going to delete my stories because it's a little embarrassing and scary to be so vulnerable, but then I realized it was hitting a good nerve with so many of you who were so sweet to DM me and share your same vulnerability and struggles. And then there's Wolf Van Halen, that must be her kid. You're perfect the way you are, Ma. I love you. Also, for no particular reason, what was that fucker at so I can harass them with memes? Well, you're a good quality son. This video is everything beautiful, Valerie. You inspire, you encourage, you make people feel like everything is good and right. You have done this your whole life. You win. You are so beautiful. This is all the, these are the people she was thanking. Actually, she wasn't thanking me. She was thanking these people that told her what she wanted to hear. All right, so I'm going to come back to that. I got a few more things to get to here. Donald Trump Jr. mocks Texas at CPAC Dallas and gets the tumbleweed treatment. And so everything that makes Donald Trump Sr. likable and interesting and, a good character, Donald Trump Jr. doesn't possess. He has been, he was always awful on The Apprentice, unlikable, and he is horrible on the campaign trail, even though a lot of people like him just because he's Donald Trump's kid. He's a big game hunter where he goes out and pays, exorbitant money to slaughter helpless, wild animals with high-powered rifle where you're not risking anything yourself, and, trophy killer.
Texas has always led the charge.
Just weird mannerisms, too, like he's having some kind of...
Well, till about like a couple months ago, and then Austin sort of took over. I don't know, guys. Texas was leading the charge. You're still top 25.
You're still top 25, don't get me wrong. Out of 50 states, you're right there in the middle. And many of those states are blue states. You're still top 25. Don't get me wrong, you guys.
We got to work on that stuff because those people have lost their minds.
Yeah, they have. They've lost their minds.
Right? Right? Right?
So that didn't go so well, apparently. The Texans didn't like this from the junior. Donald Trump reportedly fed up with annoying Kimberly Guilfoyle, and it's ironically not about this. You guys remember this? This is what's funny.
The American dream, the best is yet to come.
Yeah, that was classic. You know, she and Donald Trump Jr. make a great pair. But speaking of people who are clueless and out of touch, we're going to get to dumpster fire Richard Painter, because he commented on this. White House defends an arrangement to keep buyers of Hunter Biden's art secret. Critics fear buyers will spend huge amounts of money on the president's son's art to win influence with the Biden administration. Yeah, of course, that's exactly what they're going to do. And so what this is about is he had an art show, and there's paintings that sold for in the hundreds of thousands. And his art is crap, right? I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not worth $100,000. And he wouldn't have an art show if his dad wasn't president, right? So this is a guy who has, sold influence to his dad his whole life to sponsor his crack addiction.
And Biden's son, Hunter, are sparking ethics concerns for the White House.
Yeah, that's worth at least $200,000 right there. Like, look at that.
Hunter's artwork is set to be displayed and sold this fall at private and invite-only showings in Los Angeles and New York City. Price between $75,000 to $500,000.
Oh, there's some for $500,000
per piece. Some ethics experts are crying foul.
It just is implausible that this art from an unknown artist would be selling at this price.
This is on CNN. Like, this isn't even on Fox.
If it didn't have the Biden name attached to it. The cachet that comes with buying this art is getting to say that you own art created by the president's son.
Sources tell...
And by an influence. And so here's Jen Psaki.
Did the White House play any role in crafting the sales agreement with the New York Gallery to protect the purchasers or the ultimate purchaser's identity?
Well, I can tell you that after careful consideration, a system has been established that allows for Hunter Biden to work in his profession within
his profession. A guy who was, he's made his whole life doing things he wasn't trained to do and isn't qualified for, right? So he was, he couldn't speak Ukrainian. He didn't even go to the country, and he was making something like 50 to 80 grand a month. I think it was 50 grand a month to be on a board, which is a high, cushy job, while he was smoking crack and impregnating strippers and things like that. And so he's had all these jobs because he's, Biden's kid. And so, Jen Psaki, I mean, there's nothing you can say about this. And now he's just decided to be an artist, wrote a crappy book about his crack addiction, and he's selling art for $500,000. Wow, he's such a great artist.
within reasonable safeguards. Of course, he has the right to pursue an artistic career, just like any child of a president has the right to pursue a career, but all interactions regarding the selling of art and the setting of price.
See, selling art that isn't good art, that is, not quality art, is a way to launder money. They've been doing this for a long time where, they'll get cash from whatever criminal organization, they launder money through it. And this is a way for them to pay Hunter Biden, give him money, and gain access to the president and, use Hunter Biden's influence without it looking shady. I mean, he's just found all these different avenues to get paid for access to his dad. I mean, this is Hunter Biden's whole stick. And so here's his art. There's Richard Painter. We'll get back to him in just a moment. And so his art, that's not worth $500,000. I mean, the guy is, it's not like he doesn't have any artistic ability. He's able to do something. If he's, in fact, the one painting these things, like, we don't even know. Like, he could have hired somebody to paint this stuff, right, as a part of a scam. Like, is there any video of him actually doing the painting himself? Or is this something, but even that, it's not like it's, Look, it's original Hunter Biden. How much did you pay? $500,000. But it's an original Hunter Biden. I'll pay $500,000 for this. It's called Dots, right? Dots by Hunter Biden. This is, they're little dots of crack, right? But the stiffest man in the world, Richard J. Painter, was, upset by this.
Well, first of all, I don't know why he needs to sell the art right now. I thought he
Exactly. It's not right now.
made enough money on that Ukrainian gas company that he could perhaps paint the art and then sell it after his father leaves office.
Exactly. Why's we got to do it right now? What's the Richard Painter?
Second, the prices are extraordinarily high
It's high prices. Too high for Richard Painter's blood.
for someone who does not have an established reputation as an artist. And I know there's all sorts of
And he's still alive, allegedly.
crazy stuff that's being sold as modern art these days at very high prices, but these prices are quite outrageous.
It's outrageous prices. These aren't Walmart prices. These aren't dumpster fire prices. So if you're not familiar with Richard Painter, he had this wonderful dumpster fire commercial.
Some people see a dumpster fire and do nothing but watch the spectacle. Some are too scared to face the danger.
Not Richard Painter. Dangers is his middle name.
Or they think it will benefit them if they just let it keep on burning.
We don't know no water. Let that motherfucker burn. Burn, motherfucker, burn.
Others shrug and say, oh, all this talk of a dumpster fire, it's just fake news.
Fake news is my favorite kind of news. I like the fake news.
There is an inferno raging in Washington. But here in the land of 10,000 lakes, we know how to put out a fire.
In fact, we just discovered it last Tuesday. The trick is you throw some water on it. You get a bunch of water, you dump it on the fire. Put the water on the fire goes out. We got a patent working on that. We got a copyright working on that.
I am Richard Painter, and I approve of this message.
But then apparently he doubled down. Here he is. He's just the stiffest dude.
Tomorrow morning on Up and Adam, we've got Richard Painter running for U.S. Senate against Tina Smith on the DFL primary ticket.
He got the dumpster fire going again.
How did you put this out in your campaign ad?
Well, Washington, D.C. is a dumpster fire. So
It's a dumpster fire. This is a dumpster fire.
we need to put it out. A lot of water all over that dumpster
He needs a lot of water. He knows how to put out a dumpster fire. He needs some water. Fire.
fire. That's what we're going to do in this primary and in November.
I have no water to put this out.
Well, we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way.
These have plastic lids on top. We should be melting and putting out toxic gas, right? Is that what happened?
Throw sand on it.
Spit.
Up and Adam.
They don't know what to do. They don't know how to put out the dumpster fire. They're inhaling toxic plastic fumes. It's a dumpster fire. Okay, so let's get to the comments. I made a video on my other channel, the apocalaughsnow channel, yesterday. And it was comments that I received. I don't know, it was some video about QBs, and I got some comments to that video, and there was a number of comments eerily similar, that were almost worded verbatim, that there's a difference between Q, the entity that is Q, and the Anons that are the followers, and people who don't, who use the phrase QAnon are clueless, and they didn't do their research and all these things, right? And so I made a, comment video, funny comment video, entitled, "Hey QBs, we don't care what you call yourselves." Right? And the QBs are more or less disappeared, but there are a few of them that showed up. And this person said this about me. "He's just hating 'cause Jesus Christ is the truth. Praise Jesus. I hope you accept Jesus Christ." And so going back to this Valerie Bertinelli thing, right? There are people who, this is generally the comment videos that I make are people who have a reaction to something that I say, right? They are, watching my videos, and something that I say in my videos, some information that I present, some idea that I put out there bothers them. My beliefs, what I am saying I believe in, my interpretation of events, my commentary on one thing or another, it's opinion-based mostly. And they hear this, and QBs were some of the worst, and because they have their own insecurities about their beliefs, that they are not sure about what they believe, but they're rigid in those beliefs, and they're clinging to them, they react, right? Because if a person's secure in their beliefs, they don't care about other people's beliefs, especially when it's just somebody commenting. It's not like I'm forcing it on them. I'm not making people watch the videos. And so the majority of comment videos come from people who are in denial. And so, it's fun for me to poke fun of their denial, right? So this person, let's go through the first part first, says he's just hating because Jesus Christ is the truth. Now, there was nothing in the video about Jesus Christ. I didn't talk about Jesus Christ at all. I talked about QBs and, they're being QBs, right? And this person is linking QAnon to Jesus Christ. And that I am somehow, because I'm hating on Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ is the truth, is why I made this video about QBs. And so the person is already delusional. Like watching my video, nobody would say that it's about Jesus Christ. And then it says, praise Jesus. I hope you accept Jesus Christ. Now, I haven't commented on this before, but the term accept Jesus is offensive to Jesus. Like it's something you've grown up with, something that you've been told to do. Oh, you got to accept Jesus. Like it's some horrible thing, right? You got to go accept that you got to cut the lawn. You got to accept that you got a job at McDonald's and you got to go work at McDonald's. You got to accept that the girl that you want to go to prom with doesn't want anything to do with you, and you can go with, Cindy Lou over there that nobody likes, right? Like this idea that you have to accept something. I got to settle for that, accept it, MNFer, right? Like it's some sort of forced thing that you don't want to do, that you don't want to accept Jesus. Like it's some, imposition for you to accept Jesus. You should be grateful for him. Like I'm grateful for Jesus. I'm grateful for every saint and higher developed soul that came down to this earth and made the place a better place, made human beings better, and moved us along spiritually. I mean, it's about being grateful to them, and it's not some imposition. Oh, yeah, I got to go accept Jesus. It's a weird way of talking that has become habitual for a lot of these people. They don't even understand what they're saying, right? So I certainly accept Jesus. I certainly am grateful for Jesus. I don't believe some of the Bible. I believe that a lot of the Bible has been either exaggerated or made up or edited or censored or a number of these things. I don't believe the Bible is completely accurate. I believe that it has some good stuff in it, but that has nothing to do with my video. It has nothing to do with my talking about QBs. And so, sometimes it's just people are like, they just can't accept that they're limited in their ability to perceive reality. Like that's a big part of this. A number of my comments are people who are, the videos are like them, having to do calculus or, astrophysics or something. It's so beyond their ability to understand what I'm saying here. And so they leave a comment out of complete ignorance and stupidity of, they don't understand the video at all. And they just, you got to accept Jesus. Like, what are you talking about? Accept him. You don't accept him. Yeah, but the video's about, the QBs. Yeah, but what about accepting Jesus, huh? Well, it's not what the video's about. Well, anyway, accept Jesus. Okay. Here, have a Twinkie and head off to the clinic, right? So the next person wrote this. These are all QBs that responded. Well, this is to another video called Deceiver. And the person wrote, this guy is a shill who wants to wake up further, comment for more info. because he's got the straight dope on how to wake up further. This is to my video Deceiver, and then later on he posted a link to some crazy Earth theory, like Earth. I don't know what it was, right? But he accuses me of being a shill, and then posts some batshit crazy video, right? And he's got the real dope. He's a true truther. You get a lot of true truthers out there. And then there's this is another one for the cubies, and the person says, "You seem to be obsessed with cubies," with a smiley face. So I think I've made around 3,000 or 4,000 videos. I don't know. There's some deleted and all these things. I don't know how many up are on YouTube, but I've made in the thousands of videos. And I would say no more than 15 of them are about Q, right? Q and cubies. Even if it's 20 over a 2 or 3 year period, I've probably made twice as many videos about Alec Baldwin, even more about Jojo Magoo and Trump and Hillary in her time, or whatever it is, Michael Jackson. I mean, things come and go. But clearly I don't get obsessed with stuff because, eventually I move on. I made quite a number of videos about Richard Painter, and I was saying dumpster fire quite a bit, using those clips and memes, and things move on, right? The season changes. I was going through some of my older video. I saved them. I'm running out of room on my computer, so I backed up some of my older videos, and I saw all these videos on Don Pettit, my favorite astronaut, who plays the didgeridoo in space, and he's a real trip. I was like, wow, I got to check in on Don Pettit. Like, there's people who I actually like, Kanye, some of these celebrities I like more than others. And so, if you watch my videos and channel, you would see that I move and flow from one thing to another and move on from things because none of it really matters to me. It's all kind of a joke, right? But this comes from like a cubie, somebody who is upset I'm posting these videos. Whenever somebody says, "Oh, you're obsessed with this person," they want you to stop making videos about it, right? I mean, whatever the reason, they're like, "Oh, you're obsessed with this." They're trying to undermine, "Oh, I'm obsessed. These people think I'm obsessed. Oh my God, I got to show them I'm not. I better not make any more videos about cubies." I mean, that's their limited ability to perceive what they're dealing with when they write comments to me and how I'm going to react to their remedial comment, their low IQ comment, right? Their inability to look at the evidence in front of them and come up with a reasonable explanation for it. They can look at the kind of work I do, the kind of person I am, and then, what's going on and why I might make a video about cubies. And I've explained it. It's not like I'm hiding it from them and they have to, crack the code. And I'm, it's like some sort of watching an episode of Lost. And there's all these Easter eggs that I'm putting out there. I literally tell you why I'm doing it. I talk about the behavior of the cubies, how the cubies affected us all. And we all have a general, most of us have a general dislike for the cubies. Any of us who have dealt with cubies have a general dislike, and that comes from their behavior. And then them falling for something that's blatantly false, chasing around a savior that doesn't exist, looking to be rescued, the hopium, and then just, again, with the behavior and all these things that came with it, and how difficult that was. But the biggest reason right now, because that's the stuff I used to talk about more, but the biggest reason right now is they literally failed, right? It's like somebody shooting off a rocket and it goes into the ground and through the earth instead of going up in the air. I mean, that's what the cubies did. It's like they voted for Trump and their vote counted for Biden, right? Because of their actions. Like somehow they went in to vote for Trump and they tripped and they hit the lever for Biden. Like whatever they're doing, it's the exact opposite of what they wanted. All the things they love to talk about, the so-called elite, the pedos, the human trafficking. And that was the big one because a lot of them came in from the pizza thing and they were, upset by what they saw or thought was happening and they wanted to stop it. And Q promised them that they could stop it. So they're desperate, right? They had this desperate desire to protect children. But what's happened now, because many of us were covering this in a much more reasonable way. But the cubies wrecked it, because if we talk about those things, we're either censored or deplatformed, or they just say to you, they can dismiss you by saying, oh, you're one of those crazy cubies. You're one of those crazy QAnoners, right? And so all of these things that they care passionately about, they have wrecked by their behaviors. They turned them into ridiculous things, and now they're providing cover for the real stuff that's happening, and their unreasonable and their craziness has created that. And so that's why I talk about cubies, because I want to make sure that this thing doesn't try to come around for a second version, and the people who were cubies realize that they did damage. You didn't do good. You didn't win any of these things. You lost it, and now you're being used by the opposition to roll out more of their agenda and to censor people and make it harder for the rest of us. You completely failed. Your movement did the exact opposite of what you thought it was going to do. That's why there's videos about you. And you still keep on showing up and leaving these stupid comments and not realizing the damage you did, the difficulty it was to deal with you, and all the rest of it, right? And so that's why videos will exist and continue to exist on this channel. Every once in a while, I got to remind people not to fall for something this way again, and to realize, the effects of the after effects of the Q movement. And they're talking about it all the time in the mainstream media because it's something that they are winning with. But here's the premier comment. This is the one that caused the comment video. And the person said, "This is petty. After years of heartfulness, this pettiness lives in your heart. Why do you get so butthurt from Q people?" Now, I've just explained this, so I'm not going to explain it again. This isn't butthurtness. This is the effects of the deception that was the Q movement. But this is either a QB or someone who fell for the Q stuff, and they are trying to come at me in another way instead of admitting the failure of it. Like now you're just, you're doing overkill. You can hear it in your voice. You mean the mocking tone that's there about 50% of the time in my videos? This mocking, condescending tone that it's in my voice, like, I don't know, maybe 50% of the videos. You mean that tone? Well, it's, more than just cubies. It's not about them specifically. But here's the big part. By making videos like this, you are turning people away from heartfulness, thus doing the opposite of God's work. See, this person is implying, like, this is a concern troll, right? Somebody who is, they can't come out and say they're a QB, and they can't come out and admit to what's really going on with them. So they find a way like, oh, I'm really on your side or whatever. I'm trying to help you out. But the reality of the thing is, for this person, they're not going to do heartfulness. And probably most of the QBs aren't either. Like 99.9% of the QBs have 0% chance of doing heartfulness. And then most other people who hear about heartfulness exclusively from my YouTube channel, there are going to be some people who don't like me, who don't like my behavior. They think I'm arrogant. They don't like, they just don't, they're not into what I present here. And so they would think, oh, wow, I'm not going to do heartfulness because I don't like that guy. But they're not going to hear about heartfulness anywhere else. It isn't like they were on the fence. I wonder if I want to do heartfulness or not. I don't know that much about it. And they come to this YouTube channel and then they make their decision because of that. That's like, 1 out of 100,000 people that would be the case. That they already knew about heartfulness. They were on the fence about it. And somehow they came across one of my videos, and that turned the tide for them. And this person wasn't going to do it either way, right? Well, I was thinking about it, but then you made this video about cubies, and I didn't like your tone. I didn't like the cut of your jib. Because, you can't live your life that way. Now, since doing heartfulness, I have been aware of my behavior. I've been aware that my behavior reflects on people experience doing heartfulness. And so certainly it's caused me to be a better person in different ways and to be like less of an asshole, right? But, you know, you got to work with what you have. And so, you know, you also have to be sincere about what you are. You have to be sincere about what's inside yourself, because you can't fake it either, because people sense that. A lot of people, you know, start heartfulness, or they start a spiritual practice, or they get into their religion or something, and they start acting in a way like they're holy or they're a saint, but they're not really those things. They're just putting out some sort of, you know, they're putting on a mask. I mean, there's all these gurus, they put on these, you know, these saffron robes in India, or all these people, and they start, you know, they go into the church and they start acting like a priest, they start acting like a minister, they start acting like a rabbi, they start acting like a spiritual person, but it doesn't come from a sincere place. They aren't those things on the inside. And so people sense that, and they're much more attracted to real people. Look at the difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. You could say Donald Trump is a lot more abrasive, and, you know, he doesn't, I mean, look at the difference between the way that the majority of politicians behave and the way Trump behaved, and look at how Trump inspired people, because he was more real of who he was. He wasn't trying to fake, you know, these things. He's certainly a flim-flam man, and he's certainly a liar, but he's authentic. Trump is much more authentic than Joe Biden, and people respond to authenticity. And so, you know, the people that do the heartfulness system, because they heard it from me and because they like my authenticity, is a substantial number, right? It's a, you know, it's a lot of people. Like, there's more people that, especially people who are like non-Indian people in America, but in other places in the world, have ended up hearing about and trying the heartfulness system because of my authenticity. And a part of that authenticity is that, you know, this show, this YouTube channel, isn't about that. Like, I believe that the heartfulness system is the answer, the meditation, but that's not the reason for this YouTube channel. It's part of the reason that I like talking about it, and I like, you know, sharing how it's been successful for me, and I like telling people about it because it might help them. Might help them. They might try it, they might like it, they might, you know, benefit from it, but I don't, you know, that's up to each person. Like, I just say, this thing has worked for me. This is good, and it works for me. And I've talked about other things that are good and work for me. I talk about the joy of homesteading and, you know, some other things I've talked about over the years that I like to do that benefit me. Things I share that are, you know, they're good things. They're things that have worked for me. They may or may not work for you. And so that has, you know, I mean, I let it all go. I don't like look at it like, oh, well, I wonder how many people I brought in for heartfulness today. Like, because it's not the purpose of my YouTube channel, or in this sense, my existence. I mean, it's something that I am glad to do. I'm glad when people try it and they benefit from it. But if they do it and they don't like it, and, you know, whatever it is, you know, that's fine too, right? You know, I've just communicated something that's helped me, and then my work is done. And I got a whole nother thing that's part one to this part, but I want to finish the rest of the comment here and then come back to this because it's important. By making videos like this, you are turning people away from heartfulness, thus doing the opposite of God's work. Well, there's lots of people that would have never heard about heartfulness if it wasn't for this YouTube channel, at least in this life, and they're doing it because of the channel. So, you know, you're not actually looking at the facts. You're trying to undermine my confidence, because in reality, this channel has done a lot of good in terms of getting the idea and of heartfulness out there. And there's a number of people, hundreds of people, that are doing heartfulness because of this YouTube channel. And heartfulness is working. See, this person, like, you know, this QB in this person is upset by me saying the stuff about QB, the QB movement, Q doing the opposite of what Q wanted to do. But the heartfulness system delivers and has connected so many people to God and helped those people become better people. And this YouTube channel has helped facilitate that connection. But this person's like, well, you're insulting something that is, you know, dear to me, so I'm going to find out something that you like. Well, you like heartfulness, so I'm going to try to, you know, undermine, you know, but it's not the same thing, right? There's success. Like, there's success over here, and there's failure over there. There's failure in the Q movement. And then it says this: But you got to make the material world paper, though. Am I right? You say to the QB, who gives an F what you think, and then you make 20-minute video about it. You're making a video angry and cursing at QBs. WTF. And again, you're wrong, because there's not a lot of paper in anti-QB videos. I mean, there's more paper in celebrity videos or Joe Biden videos, right? I mean, those are going to get more views than a comment video. The comment videos, there's a number of people who like them, and I've said before, it's a way to discharge negative energy, but also to shape the narrative around the Q movement because of it's been such a disaster in this case, but also in general, right? But you're wrong on all accounts. None of those things are true because you're coming from a place where you're upset, where you're hurt, your butt hurt, your feelings are, negative towards my opinion and what I, do here. And so the difference between me and you and, me and these, all these people that leave these comments is that when I see a video I don't like, I never comment. I never say something bad to the person or whatever it is, right? I just don't, it doesn't matter to me. And I certainly don't address it with them. I'm not looking to confront them. I'm not looking to have dialogue. If I'm watching a video and I don't like the person, I don't like what they're saying, I don't agree with what they're saying, I don't go, hey, I want to make a connection with this person. I want to have a dialogue. I want to have an argument with this person. I want to have, more intimacy with this person, right? I want to take our relationship to a whole nother level. And so this is, the essential reason for these comment videos. And I, ban the people. And I assume that by their comment that they are not watching the videos after that. Because you verbalized something that is, to me, a deal breaker. I'm like, all right, move on. Like, you left your comment, and most of the comments just get banned, and I don't make a comment video. Move on. Like, I don't want you here. You don't want to be here. You don't like me. You don't like the content. Then move on. Go do something else. That's fine. I wish you well. Just like, don't linger here. And there's people that come back again and again and again, leaving hostile comments, opening up new accounts, getting another account, burner account, leaving another stupid comment, right? And just why? Like, why are you still here? Watching videos just so they can be angry and disagree. Why do you want to feel that way? Like, why do you want to, you're butthurt by what I'm saying. You're upset by what I'm saying. I don't go to Q channels. I don't hang out with QBs and say, hey, what's your worldview? The QBs come to me. They leave crappy comments. They've been trying to run their stupid, their cult on this channel, and I'm not having it, right? And just any of these comments. I don't, look for these things. Now the mainstream media is covering QB and using it against us specifically in the truth community. So it's my job to address that and show you what the mainstream media and the, powers that be, the controllers are doing and how they used the Q movement. They created the Q movement to use as a weapon against all of us. So people are aware and they change their behavior and become more reasonable, and you think before you act. But if you don't like me or like the videos, then why are you here? Like, why bother commenting? Just go somewhere else. I do what I do here. You're welcome to have your own YouTube channel. You're welcome to go and find like-minded people. Why don't you do that? Like, seriously, why don't you do that? Like, you're not here on my behalf. If you're not digging it, then please go. Like, I say it over and frickin' over again. So there's the second part to what I was talking about in terms of heartfulness. This is something that came to my mind yesterday, and this comment was a, good vehicle for it. Because my brother was dealing with a, difficulty, was, in some sort of, or still in some sort of, conflict and drama situation with other members and one particular member of the heartfulness system about something. I'm not going to go into the details, and it's not really important, but it's something that I've been through and other people have been through. I mean, I think everybody who does the heartfulness system and gets real serious about it, wants to volunteer their time and do some sort of work, there's going to be disagreements. And I've talked about the cleaning aspect in other videos, which I'm not going to refer to here. That would be where there's interpersonal dynamics that pull out things that are inside of you to be cleaned out. And it's beneficial for both people. So the conflict is actually part of the system, the disagreement, the hurt feelings. You know, I was even saying this to my brother. You know, over the years, I've been grateful for the negative comments that I get on the YouTube channel. Things I was talking about in terms of the different styles of comments with the Valerie Bertinelli thing, where the person says something, it might be hostile and it might be mean, but it's actually true. That you realize it's true. It might hurt your feelings, but it's something that you need to change inside of you. Some kind of fault, something that needs correction, because that's a big part of the heartfulness system. And so there's comments like that. And I don't get so many comments here, but then there are comments where people falsely accuse you of something, and that creates, you know, a negative reaction in people when they're accused of something, or they're, you know, there's names calling that don't really apply, or people are wrong and restate your position wrong and don't understand your position and criticize it. I mean, that's stuff that, you know, used to bother me. But after doing this YouTube channel and some other things that happened around my, you know, divorce and things like this within the heartfulness mission, I'm like, oh, you know, really doesn't bother me at all. Like, it just was a breakthrough. And so, you know, I was saying to my brother that there's so much delicacy because of the heartfulness system. You don't want to hurt people's hearts, and people's hearts become more open and things, people get more sensitive. But I reminded him of the, you know, our upbringing, you know, how like we used to say brutal things to each other. I mean, not just, you know, within my family, but just the culture in the Northeast of America, you know, in the Boston, New York, Connecticut region, New Jersey and those states, and just the way people treat each other and, you know, make fun of each other, bust each other's balls. I mean, the way that, you know, you see this like in Practical Jokers kind of stuff. But people in the heartfulness system, and it comes from the Indian culture as well, are very sort of delicate and, you know, talk around things and don't really come in with direct criticism, but we're supposed to be improving ourselves. And lots of times people don't really see, even people who are, you know, doing the heartfulness system for years don't really see what they need to change, right? The things they need to change within themselves. That's hurting their spiritual development. And so my brother was going through something, and I'm not really getting to the details, but at one point they tried to like sort of bully him and intimidate him. And in terms of the heartfulness system, my brother's one of the rougher, you know, he's a Vietnam vet, very confrontational. You know, he liked to get into these mano-a-mano struggles, right? I mean, he looked at it like, and there's a part of the heartfulness system where Babaji quoted in a spiritual way that he wanted people to have the spirit of the Spartans, either come back with the shield or on the shield. You either win or you die, but in a spiritual way. That you know, that you go through your spiritual journey with this type of fearless and, you know, relentless, and I'm not going to settle for anything but the victory, the achievement of the spiritual goal. You know, not in an aggressive way, but with a lot of, you know, will force and a lot of determination and things to see your way through the spiritual journey. And so they tried to intimidate my brother. My brother's like made people cry. Like, you know, he's like made adult men cry. And, you know, I was like, why aren't they able to read this situation and then double down on it? Like, you know, and not have the authority they claim to have. And it was getting kind of goofy. And I said, you know, you got to write to Daji, you got to write to the master about this. They were taking liberties and making decisions that they clearly didn't have permission to do, right? And they were, you know, pushing these things through based on what he was telling me. And I said, you have to write to Daji, right? You know, at some point, you have to put this in front of the master of the system, because there are things being done that are above people's pay grade, and they can't make these decisions with, you know, with things to do with the mission, the organization. See, the difference between the master and the, you know, everyone else who practices the system is the master is like giving up their ability to make mistakes when it comes to these things. Like they can have, you know, they can make human mistakes, but not in terms of whatever needs to happen with, you know, the things to do with the mission and the organization. Like they are, you know, they're going to do the right thing because they've voluntarily given up
a lot of their ego, like the majority of their ego, in terms of, fulfilling this role, embracing this role of the master of the system. And their heart has become this, refined instrument where they're not going to make these types of mistakes, where people have, they'll make egotistical mistakes, and they really won't understand what's supposed to happen sometimes. Like sometimes people in the heartfulness system, all of us, will do the right thing. Like we'll, on a moment-to-moment basis, we'll do the decision our soul and the master and God want us to make, right? We'll get in the flow of things, and we'll, tune into it, and we'll be able to see the right thing and be able to make that right decision. But sometimes people's egos get in the way. Sometimes people, their preferences or their attitude or their own prejudice or upbringing or whatever is going to, influence them to make the wrong decision. And so, when that's the case, and it's a major decision that involves the mission of, the organization of the heartfulness system, you have to check in with the master of the system. And the reason people often don't want to write to the master of the system, because it's like spinning the roulette wheel. Like it's not something where, if you went to your boss, or you went to your father or mother, or you went to some authority figure, you go into, court, or you go into, I don't know, any number of where you're dealing with somebody who is an authority figure, you can influence their decision. You can play on their emotions. You can manipulate them by the force of your will. Maybe they're not really don't want to make the decision themselves, and they just, they just listen to you, and you're very convincing. You can, win the argument, impose your will in some way, and make something happen, whether it should or not. You can lawyer the authority figure, but you can't do that with the master of the system. Like you just can't. Because all they care about is the spiritual movement of the people involved. And so sometimes there'll be these arbitrary responses that make no sense for the master of the system. Sometimes they seem to back the illogical position. They seem to back the position that seems to be wrong to almost everybody. And they're like, people are like, why? Isn't this person a master? Because their decision is always about the spiritual movement of the people involved, right? And so whatever they say is going to be the best response that's going to move everybody forward spiritually. And so you're going to hear things you don't want to hear, or they might, say things that make no sense to you. Or, I've had this happen to me a number of times. Like it doesn't necessarily going to be the right choice or the logical choice or decision. It's going to be the one that moves you forward spiritually. And so you never know what's going to happen. It's just, it's kind of interesting, right? So you could go meet the master, ask the master a question, or write the master a letter, and you'll get a response. You'll get some sort of verbal response or written response. And then things are going to happen. Like regardless of what was said to you, things are going to happen that, might contradict what they say. Like it puts into motion a series of events that leads you to do something. And for me, like one of those things with this YouTube channel and covering celebrity videos and things, I initially didn't want to do. Like not, as much as I'm doing now, or even, half as much as I'm doing now. But I realized it was what I was supposed to do to bring more people in and to have this, this be the catalyst or a conduit for some of this information to come out and connect people with the heartfulness system or whatever, right? The idea of spirituality and that God is within you and some of these primary teachings. And so it was something that the answer wasn't what I wanted to hear, but I accepted it and was eventually grateful for it, right? Accepting something you don't want and then later realizing it was a blessing. And so it's always good to come from a place of gratitude. That's what I was saying. And so when this person says, you're negatively influencing people away from the heartfulness system, well, you're trying to manipulate me. You want that to be true. Like you want me to fail. You want me to, what you consider what should be success or failure for me. You understand this? This is what I'm talking about, these comments, where people want to manipulate you to stop doing something or to do something else. Like somebody wrote me a comment and saying, I just really can't listen to your long videos anymore, your longer videos. I like the shorter ones. It's not your fault. I'm sorry, but, And I said, have you not heard the part about there's no complaint department here? Like, you guys don't know what I go through on my end and the reasons for my decisions and these things. You should just sit back and be grateful or go away. Like, if you're not grateful, if you don't enjoy what I produce here, and I'm not, again, not fishing for compliments. You don't have to say anything. I'm just saying I say this over and over again. I need to get financially compensated here, so I need to make money, and that's a factor that I have to deal with. This is a job, and I need to be compensated. I need to be paid. But I'm not doing this for subscribers or, for compliments or thumbs up or, whatever, hearts or some sort of external validation. I'm doing this because it's what God wants me to do. It's, it came out of a long set of circumstances and, big part of my spiritual journey and training and all these things that led to this YouTube channel and my further development as a creator here on YouTube and the content that I create. And it's not forever, right? It is a temporary assignment, forever long that lasts, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. It is, in the sense, a hymn of love, right? I mean, it's something, that I am doing out of the depths of my, spiritual expression and the love I have in my heart for God and the heartfulness system and, humanity, whatever there is for humanity in the earth and the gratitude that I have for this opportunity. And when there is something comes from the purity of that, right? When something comes from love and your heart and, in a true sense, I mean, everyone's going to have ego involved. Everyone's going to have their personality issues and things. But if it comes from a pure place, it's going to have a positive effect. And if you can't see that, then you shouldn't be here, right? If you can't feel it or see it, and you want it to be something else because your ego can't handle the truth. I mean, that's, the reason for the comment videos. And going back to Valerie, Bertinelli, and all these people, I mean, either you have to change something, either the person's pointing out to you something you have to change, and it could be in a video, or it could be in a comment, or it could be, your circumstance in life, or it's about them and their inability to, be able to see things and be positive with people, and it's coming out of the depths of their depravity. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.